Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. Now, normally when I do videos in the dark, I'm doing something introspective, talking about my life and all that good stuff. But no, that's not what I'm talking about right now. I just saw Brandon Ingram drop 40 in a loss at Brooklyn. And the highlights were more telling than what he actually did in terms of his numbers. The dude's mid-range jumper and his first step and his crossover is like 37 times better than anything I ever saw him do as a Laker. And there's one thing that was very, very telling in this entire situation. Luke Walton is a terrible coach. Terrible. Just awful. That's what I learned. It's not that I didn't think Brandon Ingram could have always done stuff like this. Yeah, he's a lot faster. He has a lot more energy about him in terms of his legs, so much stronger than what they were when he was with the Lakers and all of that. But the offense allowed him to simply have the ball in his hands. The floor was spread for him to move, and he just darted through the lane, crossing people over, using mid-range jumpers, using high arcs and all kinds of different moves. And he looked so fluent in Gentry's offense. That was the difference. He was given the ball and allowed to go. There was no restrictions on BI, and he was just a monster. I'm telling you, y'all, it was like artwork watching Brandon move like this. I had never, ever, ever seen him play like that for the Lakers. I didn't see him play like that ever. We just knew that he had that type of talent, and he got a little bit better every single year, and he had injury issues and all of this. But now, right now, Brandon Ingram is an all-star, if you ask me. The only thing that would restrict him from being an all-star, two things. One, playing for a bad Pelicans team. They're awful. They have no defense whatsoever. Alvin Gentry, personally, I think he has a really good offense, but he's been historically an average coach. And I don't think that they have enough talent without, obviously, Zion Williamson to really, really do anything, obviously. I think that's more than obvious. They have a lot of work to do on their roster. If they had Zion Williamson, I think this team would be winning some games, though. But BI is the best player on this team right now, and it's not even close. So I just wanted to get on here and just, I've given a breakdown of what Brandon Ingram's game was, is to my understanding, and I still stand by that. I think his biggest weakness is, what he has to do when the double team comes, what he needs to do when it's time to pass the ball sometimes. Not necessarily in stride, but during the shot clock in the half court setting. But none of that even was necessary today because his first step was so fast, his crossover was so good, and his jump shot did not miss. He's been playing like this since the beginning of the season. I know we're only, 6 games in for that team, but he has been literally one of the top scorers in the league since the beginning of this season. And that's coming off an injury. This dude is doing all this. Not an injury, but a head injury where he had, was suffering from concussion protocol or something of that nature. I couldn't tell you how proud I am of Brandon Ingram and how he's come back from the blood clot situation, how he's proven himself to be an all-star caliber player. I just wish the wins would reflect that. If they had a little bit of help, if they had any kind of help on that dang roster, I think this team would be he would be in a position to make an all-star team this year in the Western Conference if he were to keep this up. And I'm not ruling out the fact that he can make the all-star team right now. This was a special performance by a very special basketball player, and I just want to continue to see him succeed. I don't know what the Pelicans are going to do in terms of their roster, but he's up for an extension, and if they don't give him that extension, he's going to get that money somewhere else. Listen, you guys, I couldn't be more happy with my Lakers. I would be lying if I said I missed him to the degree of not wanting to make that trade, looking at this roster and how we're rolling. I don't think he makes us better if we were to swap him for AD or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I do believe Anthony Davis is going to stay with the Lakers, so I don't feel like this was a bad trade today. However, if Anthony Davis leaves us, we got problems, man, because we just gave away a full-fledged all-star offensive juggernaut who's also one of the best defensive players in all of basketball as well. And that was not even up for debate over the last 2 years. Brandon Ingram is one of the best defensive players in the league. So if his offense looks like this, we might just gave away Kawhi Leonard, more or less. I mean, he might have just gave away a young Kawhi when you think about what he can do two-way style. I think B.I. is going to be a superstar one day, and his offensive game proved to be of that type of upside tonight. and he's done it consistently, which is what makes it really special. Um, Look out. That's all I got to say. Look out. And I said this from the beginning, and I'll say this right now. As much as I loved AD and what we're doing right now, if we win the championship, it's all worth it. But if we don't win the championship, I do believe Anthony Davis would have signed with the Lakers next year. We could have just paired AD with everything that we traded away. We would have Brandon Ingram and AD next year if we would have waited a year. Now, I'm not saying waiting a year makes any sense at all, judging by how our team looks. We look amazing. I love the roster. I love the opportunity. Kawhi Leonard could have come. That was something you didn't want to play around with. We struck out with Kawhi, but you didn't want to give yourself no opportunity to sign him. So I understand why we did it. I'm happy we did it, and we look wonderful. Best team in the league right now. Nothing to complain about. But if AD were to happen to say, leave, head home to Chicago or something like that, go play with Kyrie and KD or something like that next year, we would have lost the trade. We really would have if we don't win the championship. Now, if we do win the championship, in my opinion, there's nothing to complain about because what we're doing is winning championships. And LeBron's in his 17th year, so even if we had to go back to being a bad team after winning a championship, we'll always appreciate the fact that we made that trade to make that happen. So I'm not the type of person that's going to say, oh, my God. But I'll tell you this. After you win a championship and your team, LeBron James says retire or something like that, Anthony Davis goes on to play for another team, and you're looking at B.I. continue to be a superstar, and you're trying to figure out how you can put certain things together, that's the biggest nightmare I have in regards to our roster, in regards to our team. And I know people are not thinking about that right now. We're super great. But you got to understand, this roster that we have is mostly full of vets. So you best believe, regardless of what we do this year, a lot of this team is going to be gone. So we're going to have to really, really, enjoy the moment, Laker fans. I love what we have. I don't have any regrets, but I do understand Brandon Ingram ain't going to stop. This is going to keep going for several years going forward. And we did give him away for a risk at a 1-year deal with AD. So I think AD resigns with us for probably like another 2 or 3 year deal. I do see that. Maybe he even locks up for 5 if he's really happy and we win a championship, which makes this wonderful, a wonderful trade. But let's say he doesn't re-sign, something goes wrong. Yeah, I would hate to be the guy that was right in all them videos that I made on the night that leading up to the trade and trade night. I hated the trade because of the simple fact that I felt like we could pair AD up with everybody we gave away for. But hey, nothing matters right now. The Lakers are great. Brandon Ingram is thriving in New Orleans. He's happy there. So I don't know that he would have been happier here. But I will say this. Luke Walton was an awful coach. What's going on in Sacramento just proves that right now. He's terrible. He's been terrible. He sucked for us. He sucks for them. And he restricts some of the players on his team. His offense is supposed to be high flying and all of that, but I could have led that Golden State Warriors team that year to a 40-0 record to start the season or whatever he started off with. I could have did that myself. That team was self-coached, one of the best assembled teams of all time. So I think that was a fluke. And yeah, I always said Luke Walton was the worst Laker of all time. I know a lot of people have a lot of different names, Kwame Brown, this, that, and the third. But Luke Walton, there is something to be said for longevity. Just like they say in regards to success, I say the same thing in regards to failure. Luke Walton was awful for, 7-8 years as a Laker? That matters. He might have not had the worst tenure in a 1-year span, but he was the worst player to last that long, which makes him the worst Laker to me. And then he went on to have a horrible Laker coaching career as well. He's the worst Laker of all time. And B.I. scoring 40 is a testament to that in several ways, in my opinion. So anyway, that's what I got, you guys. Congratulations, young B.I. Proud of you, young fella. Keep striving. Keep proving us wrong. The haters wrong. Keep proving some of us doubters wrong. And, man, I tell you, bro, I'm in awe of what you did tonight. I'm sorry you didn't get the victory. Keep on shooting. Keep on defending. And, yeah, man, that's what I got, man. It's young B.I. Wow. 40 points. Thanks for listening, man. BDF. Peace.